Officers of the year, the employees of the year for the police department.
Yep, we had our annual awards banquet a couple Fridays ago. It was, I think it was the 10th, May 10th, that Friday evening. Right over at the Commonwealth Building we held it. First time we've had that venue, and it was great up in that third floor City View room, so it worked out great having it there. And we acknowledge a lot of different award winners from the 2018 calendar year, and specifically our Officer of the Year, our Reserve Officer of the Year, and our Civilian Employee of the Year awards.
And you don't choose these people?
They're not. We have a policy, a process that goes through. Employees can nominate each other. It could be an officer nominating another officer, or a supervisor nominating one of their subordinates. And there's a awards board committee that meets twice a year to go over all the nominations and determine which ones are worthy of awarding, and the ultimate award being the Employees of the Year.
Tell us a little bit about Officer of the Year, Detective Richard Burkhart.
Yep, Rick he's been with the department since I think 2007 is actually when he came on. He served 10 years as a patrol officer and then received a promotion to detective back in 2017. So he's been a detective just over 2 years now. And Rick is one of those guys that doesn't complain. He does his job. He's a hard worker. He carries a pretty heavy caseload when it comes to his caseload as a detective in the Detective Bureau. And he's just one of those dependable guys that's always at work, on time, ready to go, and uses very little time off in terms of sick time, and he's somebody that can be counted on. So
a repeat winner too.
Yes, he is.
Reserve Officer of the Year, Christopher Meisner.
Yep, Chris Meisner. He has only been a reserve for, he came on in, I think it was December of 17, so kind of a short time, but in that short time, Chris has obviously demonstrated his commitment. He volunteered a total over 250 hours total as part of his duties as a reserve, and that encompasses special events, the parades, fireworks details, numerous other events that our reserves help us out with. So he does look like a cop, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he's that's a great picture, Chris. But he's done a great job, and I know the officers that have partnered with him speak highly of him.
Great guy. And oh my gosh, Casey Parsons. She's moved up throughout the department as a Civilian Employee of the Year.
Yeah, Casey's a long-term civilian employee. I think 2003 is when she hired on with the city. And she served a long role as the Chief's Administrative Assistant, Secretary in the Chief's office, both under Irv Portis and then under Matt Hines as well. Yeah, it was towards the end of Matt's tenure when we had our former, call her bookkeeper, I guess, retired, and Casey was in a position where Matt kind of transferred her into that role, and at the same time she took over being in charge of our records division. So she's kind of a utility player, I guess you could call her. She does a lot of different things, knows the ins and outs of the operations of the department, and is a tremendous asset to us. So
yeah, and
does a great job.
To know Casey. When she was working closer with the Chiefs, we worked here at JTV hand in hand on so many things. So
yep.
Congratulations to all three honorees.
Very well deserved.
You are giving out gun locks. You've got.
We've done this actually for kind of several years. It just recently came up in conversation up at City Hall, and Aaron Dimmick, the city's public information person, took an interest in it and asked about doing a public release, which I thought was a good idea. So this is a national program, Project Child Safe it is called. It's kind of sponsored through I believe the National Rifle Association, NRA, but I actually just submitted for some additional locks, but we have plenty of locks on hand at the department. Any citizen can come in and get one. They're free of charge. We give them out for a couple reasons. One, gun safety. A lot of firearms in people's homes are left unsecured, not properly stored, I should say. And the danger of a child getting a hold of one, when we've had those tragedies in our own community over the years, is something obviously it's easy to avoid if you store those properly, and equipping a weapon or a firearm with a lock is one of those ways. So there's also statistics out there reduces thefts and reduces accidents as well.
Yeah, you're right. We've unfortunately had those tragedies here in our community.
We have had, yes.
So if you have a gun, you should have a gun lock. And they're free at JPD. Last time, well, I've seen you quite a few times, but the Bono Memorial Pancake Breakfast was well attended. Seemed like a good turnout. How did it do fundraising?
I was told by Sergeant Flick, who is kind of the spearheads that event, just over $9,800 total from the event itself. Nice. And just the week, actually the same day as our police memorial downtown, Henry Ford Allegiance made a $5,000 donation to the Bono Advocacy Fund. So with the $5,000 plus the $9,800, almost $15,000 was able to be deposited into that fund. So it was a great success.
Yeah,
so
and
much appreciated.
The pancakes were great.
I actually was not there this year. I don't know if you noticed that we were in Milwaukee that weekend for some children activities. So.
Yeah, I think the breakfast was a little later this year. I think last year it was actually snowing, but there was a lot going on that day. There were tons of. It was I think the busiest weekend we had all year. So great turnout, and thanks to all who were part of that.
Absolutely.
We've got Civil Rights Night coming up. What's that all about?
Well, we have what's called ALP Act, ALP Act, the Advocates and Leaders for Police and Community Trust. And ALP Act, the first ALP Act was formed in Michigan, actually nearly 20 years ago in the Detroit area. And back 2010, 2011, the Michigan Department of Civil Rights really started encouraging communities to look at forming these ALP Act groups. And in Jackson, the South Central Michigan ALP Act was formed in 2015, and I'm a chair in ALP Act along with Frank Weathers, who I'm sure you're familiar with, and our co-chairs are Eric Beta from Spring Arbor University, who I'm sad to say apparently is leaving Spring Arbor. He's got another job opportunity, and he'll be leaving them I think the end of this month. And then Chris Cool, the undersheriff, is also a co-chair. A vice co-chair, I'm sorry. Eric and Chris are the vice co-chairs, myself and Frank are the co-chairs. So we meet monthly, ALP Act does. It's law enforcement, it's community members, community leaders, different organizations. It's really coming to the table to have those tough conversations about law enforcement and why we do the things we do. And when issues come up, we have some very candid conversations at that table, and it's a worthwhile venture. It's been eye-opening to me, so it's something we will continue to do. But as part of ALP Act, we had this discussion a few months ago about maybe holding a civil rights night, and over the last couple months we've been planning that. And this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at Martin Luther King Center, that it'll be taking place. We've got a great panel that'll be there from the civil rights arena. They'll each be given some time to just talk about civil rights and how it relates to their role and what their job is, and also give the community the time to answer questions of the panel. So we're kind of co-sponsoring it. We asked the Jackson County NAACP to co-sponsor it with us, so they'll be there as well, supporting and contributing to the event. So again, that's tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night at the center, 6:30 to 8:30. We'll stay right on track with time, and we'll begin on time and be out of there at 8:30. So anyone is invited. We encourage the public to attend.
Nice. Well, hopefully you'll get a good turnout. I know you put a lot of work into this. And one other thing, this morning, and a number of people noticed a house fire on the north side this morning. Hopefully nobody was injured.
Nobody was. That was up on Commonwealth Avenue, the north side of the city, and I think it was in the 500 block of Commonwealth. It was a house fire, a residential house. It does appear at this time no one was currently living in the residence. The cause and everything is still under investigation, but no one was injured, and fire department responded quickly, and were able to extinguish it. There was extensive amount of damage. Most likely, it'll be
Yeah.
a complete loss in terms
Well,
of the damage done.
It's a good thing it wasn't someone's current home. That's the good news.
Yes,
Yeah.
no one was currently residing there.
Appreciate all the news, and good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, you bet. Our Director of City Police and Fire Services and the City of Jackson Police Chief Elmer Hitt. Well, next up, birthdays and